Good morning, everyone, and welcome to A Moment of Hope with Upward Transitions. We're so excited that you joined us today. We are very happy to have a special guest with us today, Jared Frazier. He is the new CEO president at the Jesus House. Welcome, Jared. We're glad to have you today.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Thank you for being our special guest. So tell us a little bit about Jesus House and what your mission is and what you do in the community.
Sure. For 48 years, Jesus House has been a staple in Oklahoma City, and we have a dual mission. First, to inspire generosity to the community, to be able to provide meals for those that might not ever have a meal, the homeless and those that are just struggling to get by. And then also, we're trying to provide hope for those suffering from addiction, from substance abuse. So that's really the dual mission that we have. We switched over about 8 years ago to substance abuse. We were a shelter and feeding the homeless for quite some time. But this is our 48th year, and we love being able to help the people of Oklahoma City who just need a little bit of hope.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate everything that the Jesus House does in our community, and we collaborate with you as well. So tell us a little bit about the demographics of the people that you serve in our community.
Sure. We have men and women from ages 18 all the way up to the oldest client that we've had since I've been here has been 71 years old. So substance abuse doesn't care what age you are, doesn't care where you come from or your background. We don't have families. We don't have small children or children right now. It is an adult program. But again, for 48 years, just being able to provide that service. And we have people from all over Oklahoma. We also have people from outside of the state that will come in because we are a no-cost program. And so for us to be able to offer a 10 to 12 month addiction recovery program at no cost to people, it's really rare, and as in depth as we are, it really is a resource that's available not only to Oklahoma, but we're finding more and more interest from people that are in need from outside the state. So we're glad to offer those services.
So how do you do the funding to support your mission?
Our funding is 100% by private donations and grants. So we have a very robust grassroots donor base.
That's
and then
awesome.
That has been providing for quite some time. So all the way back to our founders of Sister Ruth and Sister Betty, who started Jesus House as a soup kitchen and just trying to help meet the need in Oklahoma City. We have people that for 20, 30 years who are still providing to Jesus House, who are still donating and supporting us. And so we are so thankful for them because it is their support that helps us to be able to provide all the services that we're able to.
Yeah. So what role does the rest of the family, a lot of times in addiction recovery programs, the families are involved. I mean, is that the case, or how does your program work?
It is, and it's not at the same time. It's interesting because a lot of the people that come into our program, they're people that have, in many ways, they've exhausted all available resources. Some don't have any family at all. Some have family that they've alienated because of their addiction and their substance abuse. But others are here because their family has intervened with them and they're trying to give them this one last opportunity for hope. And so we find that that family dynamic is extremely important for our clients to have something to look forward to. They're trying to make improvements because it may be the opportunity they get to have a relationship with their kids, their wife, with a strange family, or so forth. And if they don't have that family dynamic, their support system that they do have, if they have friends or people that are in their lives that are able to encourage them, we just find that their success rate is much higher. And so we definitely encourage that, and we want them to be plugged in with their family. Initially, when they come into our program, we do try to have a time of restriction so they can focus on their addiction. and we find that that's vital for them to be able to really just concentrate on what they're doing and why they're here in the first place. But after that time frame, we want the letters, we want the phone calls, we want the visits for them to be able to have that with their family. And some their family has just kind of has said, listen, it's this or because of your addiction, because of the choices that you've made, we're not going to be able to have that relationship. And so a lot of times we see that kind of lights the fire, so to speak, and is really an encouragement for them. And so we definitely welcome the family dynamic into our program.
Mm. So the program, the recovery program, is it a set period of time, or is it open-ended, or how long does it take for, say, an adult to go through your program?
Our program is structured at 10 to 12 months. We don't set an end cap on that, just because case by case, you may have somebody that needs a little bit longer than that. Being that it's no cost, we don't take anybody that's court mandated or appointed to us. So people are able to come and go. If they decide that this is not the program for them, then we will try to help steer them maybe to a resource that is better suited for them. But the success of our program is geared on that model of in 10 to 12 months. We want them to be able to have a healthy brain, go through the 12-step program. We're trying to help them about the halfway time frame to be able to what we call career transition. And that's really be able to move into an area where we're helping them be more self-sufficient. We're helping them, if they need a GED, get a GED. We're helping them to build resumes, set up interviews, get a job, teaching them budget and structure so they can be able to afford housing. We don't want them to go into housing that is conducive to the environment that they came from. So we're helping them in many ways to be able to find jobs that are paying a little bit higher than most would normally expect. So we've developed some great partnerships with some companies and organizations here in Oklahoma City who have been able to bring our clients on and really help them and towards that long-term empowerment. That's our vision, our long-term empowerment of people through hope, recovery, and transformation, because we don't want to see them have to come back through the system and come back through, whether it's our program or someone else. We want to help them while they're here and truly be able to help them on their path to recovery.
Yeah, and speaking of that demographic or those who are experiencing addiction, how as a community can we support them? I mean, what are some of the ways that we can maybe impact the lives of those people that are experiencing addiction?
Sure. As a family dynamic, I think it's just extremely important to not turn a blind eye to it, to get involved and to recognize the addiction is there. Many times we know it's there, but we think, well, maybe it'll go away or maybe it'll work itself out. And the majority of the time, that's just not the case. So the sooner that the families can intervene and get their loved ones into a program for help and recovery, the better. The better odds are that they're going to have success. As a community, it's just we know that those opportunities are available, and Oklahoma City does such a great job, and we're expanding that even more. We have people looking at Oklahoma City as to how we're addressing the problem of homelessness and the substance abuse and mental illness. And so I'm excited, even though I've only been in this position less than a year, just to be involved in a city that is so progressive in addressing the need and identifying it, and not just saying, well, this is somebody else's problem or we hope the problem will go away, but we're really doing something about it. So that in itself is a blessing.
Yeah, and that's not the first time that Oklahoma has been looked at as, the model. I mean, I think that's where, the phrase, the Oklahoma standard came from, because we have caring people, caring citizens that are willing to get engaged and, help their neighbors and those that are in need.
Absolutely. And Oklahoma has always had that. It's part of who we are, to be able to step up and help our fellow neighbor or somebody who's struggling. And so we just encourage you to volunteer, to get plugged in with an organization. A lot of times people will do that within their church or so forth, and that's great. but it's so much more effective if they'll get plugged in with an organization, find out what that need actually is, and then help support that. That way we're putting resources in the right areas and
Yes.
just have such more of an impact that way.
Yes, and we collaborate with the Jesus House. Upward Transitions, we're known as the go-to agency for identification, especially for people who are experiencing homelessness. So sometimes Jesus House will refer some of your clients over to us to help them get birth certificates or IDs or whatever they may need in that area. And then we refer clients over to you for meals and help in that way. If they're interested in getting into your program, we refer them to that program. And so there is this collaboration amongst all the other nonprofits too, where we work with the Jesus House. And, your pantry is well known amongst the city. And so in fact, I was just sharing with you earlier how on my way to work, the line for your pantry on Wednesday, your food pantry on Wednesdays is like, 3 or 4 blocks long down the street, down Main Street. So tell us about your food pantry and how that works.
Sure. So every week on Wednesdays, we serve the community from 8:30 until 11 or until we run out of the resource. We have a great partnership with Regional Food Bank, City Rescue Mission donates, and we have some other private donations that come in. And we're able to give back. And the people that are actually going through our program are the people that are serving the community. So they're being served, but it's their opportunity to be able to give back as well. So every Wednesday morning, we'll have cars start forming lines by 6 o'clock in the morning. And at 8:30, we'll provide those resources to them. And most of these people aren't in a homeless condition. They are people at the poverty line below that they just need some help. They need hope. And I love that in our city, that not only Jesus House, but there's other resources that are doing that, other community partners that are getting involved and collaborating with each other, because we don't want to be doing just redundant services. We want to be all partnering together and being excellent at what we can do to be able to meet the needs of Oklahoma City. And then we have another food basket giveaway that we do each year, and that's at our Thanksgiving time frame. So this month, on November the 19th and November the 22nd, on 2 days, that's a Friday and a Monday, those same times from 8:30 until 11 or until we exhaust our resources. We're going to be providing Thanksgiving food baskets, where we'll try to provide a turkey or a ham, and then all the sides, like instant mashed potatoes and stuffing and cranberry sauce and vegetables for families that might not be able to have a Thanksgiving otherwise. Because we believe here at Jesus House that no family should have to worry about where their next meal is going to come from. And so that will be available during our Thanksgiving time frame. And then as we move forward, we're finishing up our new kitchen and dining facility, which is just a great phase 1 project that we're going through. And that'll expand our seating capacity from currently, in a 1938 schoolhouse, we can feed 35 to 40 people at a time. But this will allow us to be able to feed up to 180, 186 people at a time. And so we're excited to be able to leverage that for the community and what God has in store for us in that capacity. And hopefully that should be complete right after the first of the year. We're excited about that.
Well, we're excited for you and very grateful for everything that the Jesus House does for our community and for our mutual clients too, as well. So in closing, do you have a client story that you could share with us today?
Absolutely. I'll just kind of talk about a gentleman that came through our program when I first got here, when I first arrived, and was kind of dear to my heart. And it goes back to your question about kind of what's the demographic. And this gentleman was 70 years old when he was here, 71 when he left, had a very trying life, had injuries in his life, had been in the prison system, had addiction for quite some time that caused issues with family, and was at the brink of suicide. It's just that point of where do I go from here? And was referred to Jesus House, had been a very productive welder in his career, And by going through Jesus House, by going through all the programs and the support that we have here, and then obviously, as we say, Jesus is not just the name on the door, he's the guiding principle of everything that we do. So he surrendered his life to the Lord and went through the program and graduated the program successfully and is now financially stable. He's in suitable housing. He has a job back in the welding environment, even at that age, and he's working circles around a lot of the younger guys. And so we're just so proud of him as an example. And he's just one of many stories of people that if they come through and they really have set their mind that they want to tackle addiction, they want to really recover and buy into the program. The staff that we have here is amazing. They will go out of their way above and beyond to help meet the needs of our clients. And so he's just one of many, but one that was dear to me because it was right at the time when I first arrived. And so it's never too late. I'm going to just
That's right.
Is if you feel like your family member has tried everything and nothing is working, give us a call. We would love to be able to help provide hope in what Jesus House can offer to your loved one. So.
Can you share your website address before we say goodbye to everybody?
Absolutely. You can go to jesushouseokc.org. There's all kind of information about our programs, about who we are, what we do, ways to volunteer. There's also donate options as well. You can click the donate now option. You can always call us at 405-232-7164. Our website is available there as well. So we would love to hear from you and always appreciate your support.
Well, Jared, I just want to say thank you so much for being our special guest today. And Upward Transitions loves collaborating with you. And we know that you do a lot for our community. And we just want to say we're happy to serve our community with you. So thanks again for being here today. And we just want to tell everyone so long, and we'll see them next week.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it. God bless.